Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Lenny Robbins YouTube show. Know your politics. Let's all get together, create a better understanding by watching what politicians do. It is important, and I'll never get tired of saying this. It's so critical. It's so important. It's now become an integral part of our own existence that we must stop, look, listen, and watch what they do. It's very important. It doesn't matter how the government of the day or the opposition want to slice it. In reality, if we take a hard, close look at what is happening, Jamaica is truly in an existential crisis, socio-economically. The lives of people are not getting better. The lives of people are not improving. The quality of life is not getting any better. The quality of life is not improving. Job creation, cost of living, these things, transportation, health, food, all of these things, housing, rental fees, user fee, nothing is getting cheaper. We're getting deeper and deeper into our existential crisis. And I say that because I want to use this opportunity to once again appeal to all my Jamaican counterparts at home and abroad to wake up to the reality. Things may seem flamboyant around us, things may seem pretty, the highways, the building, and all of these things. But just ask yourself, as I said something about the highway, I remember checking out something at the toll. If someone comes to the toll to pay the toll with US dollars, now the market rate for US dollar is 150, but the government of the day, the JLP government, the transportation minister, this is under your prerogative, sir. This is your prerogative. They are offering you $100 to every one US. Now the market rate is 150. So they offer you $100 to one US dollar. Now, you tell me if this is right. You tell me if government is even considering local users for this road. Because if my family sent me some dollars and some came to Jamaica and left me with some US dollars, and I said, okay, let me drive down to Ochi, and I'm to drive to the toll gate to pay my toll in US dollars and to pay $1 for every $100, I get $100 for $1, which if I stop to the bank and change it, I can get $149 or $48 or $150 easily. No, I don't think this is something the government announced. I don't think the traveling public is aware of this. Or I should say I don't know how much of the traveling public is aware of this. However, I just want to throw that out there, coupled with the fact that I would still ask any government minister, any economist out there, to tell us when government announced a 3 to 5% economic growth for any quarter of the year, or even for the year itself, how on God earth does this benefit the poor people of the country? The man who is on the plains of St. Elizabeth farming, the man in the hills of Manchester farming, the man who is somewhere in Portland, St. Thomas, St. Catherine, all over the place farming. How does this 3 to 5% growth in the economy help these people? People who can't even afford to put food on the table for their children on a daily basis. How does it help them? 3 to 5% may be an indication of where the economy is going. It may indicate to the government or the Minister of Finance or whatever that, oh yes, you're doing something that is good. You're on the right trajectory. Things are on the right track, moving in the right direction. It's a clear indication. But is it a clear indication that the proletariats or the poverty lower end of the socio-economic spectrum in Jamaica, does the people who live there benefit? Is this any real benefit to them at 3 to 5% per year? So let us get real, let us wake up, let us take a stock. It is time for us to stop, look, listen, and learn. And let us watch what government do, because we need to come together to create a better understanding. I'm not here to curse PNP or curse JLP, but I'm here to use pointers from PNP and pointers from JLP to highlight the importance of people of Jamaica coming together. Not for the benefit of PMP, not for the benefit of JLP, but for the benefit of Jamaica itself. Because if we need to live in a better country, if we need to live in a safer place, if we need to have a better quality of life, then all of us, PMP and JLP alike, has to come together. We have to come together. I want to jump on the two things here. I read a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Bunting from the JLP, from the PMP organization, made a speech about citizens reporting crimes or requesting citizens to report crimes in their communities across Jamaica, especially crimes about scamming or scammers. I don't know if Mr. Bunting made that speech selectively or from his own personal perspective. But if I was to guess Mr. Bunting, I would say that's a selective speech coming from you. And I say that to say this, because here's what I know you selectively forget in that speech, because I read it right through, but you made no mention of this. And it is time when we talk about fighting crime, we include all crimes. All crimes. And we need to get into the minds of the small man, of the people who are scamming. I give no support to scammers. I have no support to give to a crime in any shape or form whatsoever. I'm totally against it. But if we're going to fight crime, brother, don't aim your policy. Don't aim your Zozo. Don't aim your crime infrastructure at a certain set of people. While the set you selectively forget, the white-collar criminals are getting away with their level of scamming also. They are not scamming like the small man. They are scamming the nation coffers. And the white-collar criminals I'm talking about, so it's not confined to public or private sector CEOs and executive directors and accountants and all of these things. I'm talking about politicians here. I want to say this loud and clear. I'm talking about politicians. Because when a politician scam, your behavior, that politician's behavior, affects the entire nation. You take from a community. So I wonder why you, Mr. Bunting, would call for citizens in their communities to report crimes and scamming or scammers, but yet refuse to call on your own party, to call on the ruling party, to call on citizens, business leaders, executives, directors all across the nation to report on white-collar crimes. When last has anyone in Jamaica heard of the statistic white-collar crime is having on Jamaica's product GDP? When last have we heard how effective it is, how it has affected our economy, the growth of our economy? When last have we heard anything about white-collar crime? Look at the big SSL thing. I wonder if all of us in Jamaica think SSL is the only white-collar crime that is happening in the nation. No. That crime was of such that it had to come to light. But there's a lot more that is happening. A lot more that is happening that we don't know. Which politician have you ever heard come to Parliament and give accountability for the money that is given to him to spend in his constituency? Which politicians ever presented an expenditure account of how the money is spent? Money that is allocated to him to do any kind of development in his constituency? None. So I just want to say this to you, Mr. Golin, and to all Jamaica. The crime fighting techniques of the country will not work It is not going to work the way you guys are doing it. Okay, you guys are the smart guys, and I give you credit for that. You're all smart. Because the world is not being led by an idiot, but the world is in a crisis because of the smart people in the world. So maybe on the other hand, it is time for some of the idiots to get involved. There can't be a selective process against certain type of crimes when you also selectively leave out certain crimes. I've never heard in the past 20 years any plan to fight white-collar crime in Jamaica. And I'm saying this loud and clear. If there's any, let the nation know. Let me know. I'm glad to hear about it. The IC, Integrity Commission, is also embroiled right now in a report about the very Prime Minister of the country. About what? Everybody's asking, how did he get so rich? Where did he get his money from? I'm not saying the Prime Minister is guilty of any white-collar crime. I'm not saying so. But if things were put in place to fight crime at our levels, we could avoid all of this. The nation, the Integrity Commission could have avoided all of this. And whatever mistake the Prime Minister made, if he makes any, whatever the deliberate or unconventional means or action you want to take or operate by or function by, we could have prevented that. That could have been prevented if the right thing were in place to fight crime across the board. Not just for the lower end of the people, the poor people. And notice, the ZOZO, all of these state of emergency plan, is also aimed at the local community criminals. Why aren't we now aiming at the bigger criminals in the society? Why aren't we? Why are we not aiming? The local man goes to prison. And he's a nobody in prison. A man who's a little above him with a certain amount of money goes to prison and he's a special person in prison. Crime fighting, sir, doesn't take place alone on the street, Mr. Golden. Bunting. Sorry, Mr. Golden. Mr. Bunting. Crime fighting is also taking place in prison. If you want to really fight crime, it also involves even when a man is incarcerated. A man is incarcerated for a crime should not have access to certain things. Should not. And we need to take this crime fighting thing serious if we're going to talk about fighting crime. We need to do it. It's absolutely necessary. But I'm not surprised, Mr. Golden, to hear you, Mr. Bunting. I don't know why I keep saying Golden. I'm not surprised, Mr. Bunting, to hear you specifically direct or targeted the lower end of the crime thing. Because, yes, the scammers are scamming people from abroad. And that can have impact on the bigger tourism sector of Jamaica, that have impact on our image, that have impact on our everything international for Jamaica. You understand? But white collar crime is also tearing down Jamaica. Unseen, unidentified, and unheard of. White collar crime is ripping the country apart. And I'd be happy today to see when there are policies, legislations, statutes put in place to address white collar crime in the country in a very serious way. A man gets a job in the bank, closes his drawer for lunch, walks away with a couple of $1 million. No one see or heard from him again, him or her again. Based upon the insurance that the bank carries, how much does that each person out there whose account and where that money came from. How does the bank refurbish or finance that money? Or replace that money, I should say. Or even finance it. And then people sitting there say, oh God, I'm putting my money in the bank for them to steal it. The bank a thief. They're not going to say the person walking with it alone is a thief. The bank is a thief. And people will say that because there is nothing in place to regulate these things at the white collar level. Nothing. I also want to address another issue with Mr. Andrew Holness and the JLP-led administration. A couple of years ago, Mr. Holness, you made a prediction of first world country status for Jamaica by 2030. Now we are 6 years away. But I must give you credit, sir, for admitting a week or 2 weeks ago that we won't be able to meet that projection. Even all the criterias, even all the pieces are in place, we will not be able to meet it. But if I remember well, sir, when you first said it, I think I came out then and said this is not possible. And at the time I was doing some research on globalization. When you made that speech. And my first conclusion was Jamaica will not be able to do that. Even in 25 years. And I got this conclusion from my research on globalization because here's what it tells me at the time. We were not a beneficiary to globalization. Of globalization, I should say. We were not even an effective, what we call a competitive entity in globalization. There's no way Jamaica could compete in globalization. There's no way. And even now we're not beneficiaries of anything of globalization, from globalization. When globalization is talked about, Jamaica is not mentioned. Countries like Jamaica are not mentioned, even now. Number one, sir, there's no way you could make that prediction without vowing to clear up corruption across the board. One. There's no way you could make that prediction for us to be a first world status country by 2030 without vowing, putting in place legislation and the necessary laws and statutes and regulations with teeth enough to send a man to prison in order to reduce corruption and clear up corruption. That's the first thing we need to get rid of. We don't need to bring in technology. We don't need to build roads, bridges, all of these things, infrastructure development and our new highways and all of these things. That doesn't do one thing to our achieving our first world status, sir. If we are corrupt, forget first world status. And you didn't mention anything about reducing corruption in the country. We're not even there yet, technologically. We're not there productively. We're not there in manufacturing. We're not there in any shape or form right now. Because the only thing we have to compete in the global market is hospitality and tourism. Sorry about that. Hospitality and tourism. And truth be told, I ask anyone to walk the street of Ochios, Kingston, Portland, Montego Bay, Negril, and tell me on any given day, send someone to Kingston, send someone to Portland, Ochios, Montego Bay, and Negril, and count how many tourists you see on the street. Talk to the artwork, art and craft stalls in the Ochrios market. Duns River, along the roadside, Negril, Montego Bay. Talk to these guys. Talk to them. How is business? How is sales? And compare that with the numbers coming out of the Ministry of Tourism. Compare that with what the Minister of Tourism is telling us. Yes, the numbers is coming in. Let me agree with him that the numbers are coming in to Jamaica. We're getting our visit. We're meeting our quota for a year. And if these tours are not on the street, if these visitors are not on the street, where do they go? It means now that most of the hotels across Jamaica are all-inclusive. So most of them stays right where they are. Or a percentage of them doesn't leave the ship that really comes to harbor for the day. And things like that. So the money stays one place. Again, who suffers? Poorer class of people suffers. Even though the minister is telling us that how many millions visitors we have per year, go talk to the vendors in the craft market. And they'll tell you how many tourists they see for a week. So where's all that numbers and that money going? Ladies and gentlemen, Jamaicans all over, we got to wake up, we got to start to really realize what is happening around us. It is important to really stop, look, listen, and watch what our politicians are doing across the nation. Very important for us to do so. We are in an existential crisis. I cannot say this anymore, and I will not stop saying it. The country is in an existential crisis. It is. It is in an existential crisis. And we are not ready, Mr. Prime Minister, to be anything near a first world country. But I notice the goalpost was set for 2030. When you made your announcement that we won't be able to meet that deadline, you did not move that goalpost. You did not move that goalpost. So therefore, first world status is now an indefinite, or an illusion to be pursued but never attained. One of two things. Achieving first world status for us in Jamaica is either an indefinite thing, no time limit, or it's an illusion to be pursued but never to be attained. We need some clarification, Mr. Prime Minister, because you said that a couple of years ago. Real good feel-good story, real good smokescreen argument, real good political talk, because that was all said. Because I'm now assuming that was all said to boost the JLP image and perspective and appeal to the nation. Like I said, this is not about PNP or JLP for me, because the JLP does it, the PNP does it too. It's not a one-sided thing. Both governments are doing the same shit to the nation. They promise you one thing and can't deliver it. PNP the promise can't deliver, JLP promise can't deliver. So what is happening? Are we still going to sit back and allow ourselves to be useful idiots for politicians? Are we still going to sit back and allow ourselves to be useful idiots for corruption? Are we still going to sit back and allow ourselves to be useful leaders for special interests in the nation? Are we still going to sit back and allow ourselves to be useful idiots for our own sufferation? Are we still going to sit back and allow ourselves to become useful idiots to oppression, to corruption, to joblessness, hopelessness, homelessness? Are we still going to sit back and allow ourselves to become useful idiots to cost a living? We need now to become useful beneficiaries of a better quality of life. And the only way we can do that as Jamaicans is to stop, look, listen, and learn. Let us all come together to create a better understanding. Create a better understanding so we can better be able to watch what politicians do. Because I'm going to say, and I'm emphasizing this because, listen, a lot of us listen to bloggers on YouTube. But notice, bloggers are not making decisions for you. Bloggers aren't the one who's sitting in parliament. They can talk all they want to talk. The power to move government is not bloggers. It's not even people like myself. It's all of us. That's the power that's going to move government. That's the power that's going to bring change. We are the agent of change, not politicians. As Ninja Man says in his song, building blocks, we are the building blocks. We, the people of Jamaica, are the building blocks. So we need to come together, create a better life and a better understanding for ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the Lenny Robbins YouTube show. I'll continue to get my pieces in as best as I can and as often as I can. I'm really not here as often as I should, but I'm doing my best. Welcome. Blessed love to all Jamaicans home and abroad. Wish you all the best. I mean, if you see this, come across this posting on YouTube or this video on YouTube, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down, share it, spread across the nation, because we all need to hear this and we all need to come together as one big family and make Jamaica a better place for us all. Lenny Robbins over and out. Once again appealing to all Jamaicans. Stay firm. Be blessed.